What's up? Today I'm showing you the next mandala that I made, and let's just get right into it. So, like usual, I'm in Photoshop here, making a mandala. I feel like Photoshop is one of the best ones for it because it just straight up has the mandala feature. And this time I figured I'd go with 6 sides. Nothing too crazy. 6 is a good number. And the way I start pretty much every mandala is just kind of putting shapes in the middle. Whatever shapes come to mind. And this time it was bug related. Start drawing things with wings and antennas and stuff. And I was just feeling pretty buggy, I guess. But like honestly, the middle of each of my mandala designs is just me figuring out what the vibe's gonna be for the rest of it. And you can pretty much tell by the way I'm just randomly drawing shapes here that that's what's happening. Is I'm just trying to figure out what my brain is telling me. And then there's a little bonus for you, some lost footage. I ended up not hitting record for some of my work here. So there's all these eyes and teeth and stuff that I drew kind of just around the shapes that I had already done. Not too exciting yet, I guess, but this is the first point where it's like a more cohesive thing, I guess. And I was like, how do I even have monster teeth face with eyes transition into something? And then one day I realized I could just make plants come out of it. That felt pretty good. So I went with that. A lot of the time I have very long breaks in between segments of doing these because I'm not planning anything, so oftentimes I will get stuck on what goes next or what I want to put there. I'll just take days off of drawing and just think about it, and eventually something comes up. And I had to do that quite a bit with this one. Mandalas are just like that sometimes, you know. And then I figured, what else could go there? Little bugs. And then at some point when I'm like making these choices, they really do feel like, they were meant to be drawn there based on what I had already done. I'm really trying my best to just let the design lead the way for itself, in my head at least. And then this just ended up being like a very nature and bug oriented drawing overall, even though that's not something that I intended on drawing. One thing that I do like drawing a lot though is trees. They're fun. And I don't really know why I was so stuck in mandala mode here, because these trees look weirdly symmetrical, but I switched over to radial pretty quickly. You can still do that in 6, it's just not doubled up the same, but sometimes that's just what you need. I like my drawings to have little details hidden in them, so you can just look at, you know, any spot and find something there. I'm trying to fill up the tree leaves and negative space as much as I can. You know, just adding little guys. And then above the trees, I don't know, that was like a week or two at least, where I just had no ideas at all. And then I was thinking that, I don't know, clouds in the sky are good, but do I really want the clouds to take up all that much space? Not really. Like, well, I still want them there. So I kind of had these dudes on little flying carpets summoning cloud that looks like an umbrella. It's raining, and I thought it would be kind of just funny or ironic or whatever to have the umbrella raining down on the trees and how they get their water or whatever. So they're using whatever magic they have to water the trees. And then, you know, for the moth here, it just that's just what I drew. I didn't think about it. Those were just the shapes that happened, and I went with it. And I was like, this fits pretty well with what I already have, so that's good. Then another long break before I figured out what to put above this moth, because like, what do you put above a moth? You know, I have to kind of start making things up in my head as opposed to pulling things from what I see every day. So when I get real stuck like that, I'll just start adding shapes, you know. So here's some shapes. That's when I was thinking, man, these kind of look like ribbons. You know what else kind of looks sort of fun and ribbon like? Butterfly wings. So maybe this moth could be tossing out ribbons that become butterflies and other moths, and that would just be a good space filler. Just a way to fill in the white, you know. And then I forget what it was, but there's probably a few movies or whatever with giant mushrooms in it that inspired me to put giant mushrooms here. I haven't really messed with mushrooms yet, and they're a fun little aesthetic, I guess. And oftentimes in like a fantasy setting, there's giant mushrooms, and Mandala is slightly fantastical looking already, so I figured why not just add some mushrooms in there. You know, whatever. And then honestly, the only other thing I could think of that could take up a skyline that's bigger than that, that's natural, is mountains. So I was just like, I kind of felt like forced to put mountains because that's just what it needed. I don't know. What else would you put? Is how I felt about it. And I was like, you know, I need to fill up the sky somehow, so I added moon. But even that didn't really fill it up, which was fine. But after this moon, I like straight up took a long time to be like, is this done? Like, have I filled it up already? And I was like, I think I could add more stuff. And I ended up coming up with this dude, and he's definitely inspired by something. I just can't remember what or where or how. But you know, simple guy. Now here I sat for a good long time. I'm like, yo, that looks like a bird's beak. I was straight up looking at bird skulls and bird skeletons and stuff. I'm like, maybe he's holding like bird bone just for whatever magic BS. But then I was like, no, I think that could be something else. I think that shape could be its own creature. And then I was like, wouldn't it be funny if he's like lighting a baby on fire and then the mama's, you know, I thought that would be interesting. But after that, I was like, I'm done with line work. I think we're done here. I filled it up enough. And then for the coloring, I usually just use the brush tool and I just fill it in whatever color I like. But this time I was like, no, I think I want everything to have a lot of texture, and I'm not trying to go photorealistic because I want to have like a, you know, my style is kind of like a solid black outline. Photorealism doesn't have that, so I think I wanted to find that texture elsewhere. And what I did was I looked up a bunch of references making mandalas on YouTube and stuff. I was like, maybe there's something someone else does that I can do. And what I discovered is you can take photos, and if you arrange them in like 6 in a row in Photoshop and push them down so that those 6 photos are a cube, and then you make a polar array of that, it makes a really cool, you can see it right here, a really cool little design. Hold up. Right there. So every photo is like, you got your cube of a photo. Then you take 6 of them, this, so that they become pie slices, and then you put those 6 pie slices around the middle and you get something like this. And I was like, this is perfect because I can use this technique to put the texture on every piece of it. It'll hit the same spots perfectly every time. So that's pretty much my technique for the texturing. You'll see it happen with like a bunch of different photos. I had to get so many photos together. That psychedelic one you saw first, the butterfly. And then there's a couple techniques for this part. What I should have been doing from the start was just masking the layer, but you can just cut it away too. You can just erase it. But yeah, you just get a bunch of pictures to be the texture, and then you cut around the actual shapes. Pretty cool. Pretty good idea. Yeah, doing all these mushrooms did take me a while. See me cropping out the the watermarks and stuff. Yeah, some of these I did have to kind of like erase some evidence. But I think it's transformative enough to where, you know, I don't have to do anything with that. Ended up redoing this mountain face because I picked like 2 different textures at first, one for each side of the mountain, and that was not great because it just, you know, the dynamics were off. Didn't look right. I got rid of that first one at some point and then just did the two different sides as two different parts of the same picture, but they had different lighting, so it worked out pretty good. I just think that these look cool. Like, take a look at that. Tell me that that's not an insane thing to look at all by itself. And that's just one part. You could do this with any photo. And it looks insane. There's so many mushrooms out there that it was quite easy to find a bunch of different fun textures to put in. And then of course while I'm doing this, every like single little thing is on a different layer. So the more I worked on this, the more my computer was like slowing down in between steps. Because I was just like overloading it with shit. And then for the moon though, I did not do that polar coordinate thing where you make it into a big whatever. I just like slapped the moon picture on it. So every moon looks a little different. I thought that was interesting. Man, how many pictures did I end up doing for this? It was probably, I want to say like 16, at least a dozen. Oh wait, yeah, look at that right there. Look at that. That looks by itself. This one's gross. Had to get some mouth texture. Oh, look how good that is. You know, this is like a super good idea. You can see me like saving and quitting a couple times. Literally, it's because like there's just too much going on at once and I had to like shut it down and start over. I like to run my computer pretty hard, so I have to kind of give it some space sometimes. That photo again, I did not do the polar thing just because I feel like it looks better. But this mouth though, I'm gonna get ready to pause here. That right there, ooh. Pretty much every photo that I did this with, I got to stare at and admire for a minute because they're all so nice. Pretty much every texture, I'm just ripping one of the first images I could find off Google Images and adjusting it to fit. not much else to talk about there. We're pretty much done. I just had to clean up some of the lines from doing the polar array whatever thing, and clean up, what was it, like 2 lines. Then I got to start coloring stuff in. Now this part I was very excited to do, because this is what I'm more used to, is just coloring in the lines. Very easy. So I was just picking colors from the texture itself and using that to create these detail colors, I guess. And at this point, for some reason, the thing was off-center just a little bit. So whenever I was doing mandala details, it was off, so I had to like fix it real quick. But for a second there, I was doing every single one individually instead of all at once. Always make sure your stuff is centered or stuff like that. The teeth were really good after I colored them in. Just really sealed the deal for me, you know. And once again, I was just using tones from the thing's earthen body skin to make these little buds. Yeah, you know, I just had a really fun time coloring in these little guys. I really like the texture on the wings for these. It's very trippy looking. And my color choices for things really I just go off of vibes. Getting close to the end here. Couple more things to color in, like the dude. But yeah, I had a great time. It was really fun trying to come up with all this stuff. And at the end, you know, I kind of just sat back thinking, is this done? Is it done? Eventually it was just like, yeah, I don't know what else I could put in here. So we're done. And it feels good to finish one of these, to look at it and really like take in what I did, especially because it wasn't intentional, so I feel like I can react to it for the first time. It was just all what came to my head. But yeah, let me just pull up. Anyway, thanks for watching that. Had a great time making that. Thank you for watching through, I guess. And I'll probably make another one at some point. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Please come through to my website at www.thick216.com. All my favorite designs are there. Come through to my Instagram where I have all of my published works, only bangers on my Instagram. My Redbubble page features all of my best designs on some wonderful merch. All kinds of clothing, mouse pads, hats, anything you can think of. shower curtains, stickers, laptop cases, phone cases. Here I am displaying a nice hoodie, classic design, a pillow. Who could do without a pillow? Nobody. Everyone needs a pillow. Very soft. We've also got prints. Any kind of print you could want. Posters, metal prints, framed prints. We've got zipper bags, zipper pouches. Put every pencil, every pen you've ever had in there. Mouse pad, desk pad, game mats. Anything you could think of. I've even got a bath mat and a shower curtain. Also come through to my TikTok, small videos there. And then my YouTube for all my full-length videos. And Fiverr if you want me to make art for you.